there, Pocket here with another game face. Now this week we have quite a few things to cover and I'm going to try and cover them as fast as possible. And let's start off with Wildstar. Now Wildstar recently put out a trailer that has player housing. Now if it's one thing that I as a gamer want, it's player housing. And they laid out some of the details, but they didn't really lay out a lot. Like apparently you'll be able to place your house, but not only place your house, but place things outside of your house, like if you want a windmill or defense cannons. And then perhaps you don't want neighbors and you want to make your own little island to live on, so you can actually basically have this floating piece of land above everybody else. And it looks pretty exciting. It looks like it's going to be a place, a social place. It looks like you'll be able to set up sort of like a fighting area. And if it's one thing that I've enjoyed in games, it's player housing. And you don't really see it in a lot of games. And I really look forward to hearing more about what they're going to be doing for player housing. But they said they will release more information next year. We're not going to probably get that this year. Blizzard dips below 10 million subs. Almost below 9 million subs. Now a lot of people would say, well, I'm not really surprised, and even Mike Morhaime said, well, that's because at the end of an expansion cycle, subs always drop, and then whenever an expansion comes out, they go back up. And that is true for a lot of cases. They do have an increase in subs after an expansion, and that's kind of not surprising. However, I do believe that let's just say there's a lot of competition in the market right now, and with games that are already out, people are beginning to find a game that might be more suitable for them, or maybe they're just getting tired of MMOs in general. And another reason might be the whole free-to-play, and a lot of games are definitely going more towards freemium and free-to-play versus completely sub. Now, that's not to say Blizzard is really hurting right now, because let's admit it, Blizzard still makes quite a bit of money, and if it's not off their subs, then it's off of everything else that they sell in the game, and, you know, character transfers, name changes, pets and mounts, and let's just keep going through the list here. There's tons of things, and I'm sure that, you know, I alone can admit that I've had, you know, tons of character transfers, faction changes, race changes, and name changes. So yeah, I don't think they're really hurting necessarily, but their subs are dropping. However, they still have quite a few subs. They're still #1 on the MMO market, so I don't know. I don't really think we should look into it too much. When they get below 1 million, then maybe, or below 2 million, then maybe we can start, you know, going, huh, what's going on? In other news, DayZ will become a standalone game, which is huge news for a lot of people, and it will be led by Rocket, of course. And basically the development model that it is going to have is similar to the Minecraft model. It'll have a lot of updates, really fast updates, and the alpha will actually be available for a discounted price, I'm imagining, so that way they can get people in there and testing that stuff. And I'm really excited for this because I do really enjoy DayZ. It really caught me off guard, and I can't wait for it to actually just become its own game and not just a mod of the game, so that way they can start designing stuff specifically for it. And I think this was a good choice for them. I think that they actually could have a lot of success in this. They didn't really release many details beyond that, but I look forward to covering them in the future. Now last but not least, Firefall has been releasing a series of videos, and they also just released a huge update to the game where a lot of the core things within the game have been changed, and that includes going through a lot of weapons and revamping them, revamping the crafting system, getting rid of levels, and actually putting in sort of a battle tier set, or battle tiers. Sure, I haven't gotten into the game. I need to get into it, and once I do, I'll probably make a whole preview / feedback video that I'll upload, and that'll be exciting. But at the same time, they did something huge to the game beyond just getting rid of levels, and that is they took out the medic and they put in the biotech. Now the biotech, yeah, they're similar, but the biotech's more support and less healing. Now before, and one thing that I think that they said that was smart, is the fact that, you know, whenever there was the medic, they had the whole stigma of healer, and you had to have one on your team, because if the other, whatever team had more was the team that won, and now it's more of a support. Now, you know, of course it shoots, and whenever it shoots, if it hits someone, it puts a debuff on them, up to 30% of a debuff, and the res, now you have to run up and actually res them next to them and take a risk of getting killed. I'm really excited. They changed other things in regards to it, and they made it a lot more support, like the poison gas, which is kind of like a singed poison gas from League of Legends. Singed, anybody? Which I think is awesome. If someone's chasing me, I just start laying down that poison gas and running like a boss. But there's certainly a lot of changes, like the crafting. The crafting is a huge one also, because no longer do you have, you know, set mats that you need to get, or set, you know, crafting materials that you need to get. Depending on the crafting materials that you get depends on the stats in the actual piece. And so that's really interesting because you can play around with your stats that way. And so it'll make min-maxing and the whole skill of min-maxing a lot more important. It adds a different level of skill that, you know, I'm of course gonna have to look over other people's shoulders and read or watch YouTube videos, because you can totally read them. I'm excited to test this out. I will be testing this out and making a video on it and giving feedback on how I feel about certain things. I did play the medic a little bit, and I played the engineer, and I know the engineer also got revamped a little bit, and so I want to go back in and I want to try them out. And if you haven't gotten into the beta yet, you should go sign up and try out the game. It's certainly a lot of fun. And so that's it for this week. Stay tuned for next week, where I cover more news and give, you know, some opinions and try to keep my rambling to a minimum. Goodbye.